Paragraph 656, the indwelling of the Holy Ghost means nothing less than an approximation of the believer to the status of God's son or daughter. One can understand what is meant by the remark, "You are God's." So basically, the Holy Ghost meant that you would become like Christ as God's child. And you know, I think it changes everything when you change that perspective, because then it says, you know, then you can't be in the football locker room before the game and pray, "Oh God, please let us win this game." You know, you can, you know, while you're learning.
Petty petition.
Yeah, I mean, you know, God's going to say, you know, "I'm going to send the whirlwind," you know. Right, but you know, the place you want to do it, and we had discussed last year how there are 7 petitions in the Lord's Prayer that are really petitions to your inner self. You know, they're not petitions to some sky god who's going to come and rain good results on you. It's, you know, but if it's a petition to your psyche to do well, then, you know, when you're a football player, the thing to do is to say the Lord's Prayer and to pray that you learn the skills and become the skills, because you're petitioning your psyche to do the necessary things to become that person that you want to be the hero. Yeah, be all you can be, right? Exactly.
Uncle Sam knew it all along.
Pardon?
Because Uncle Sam's known it all along.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, they do use a lot of clever psychology
Yeah,
in
you're
the
right.
military.
Oh yeah, and I know where that phrase came from, by the way. It was invented by a Jungian colonel who was the head of Delta Force. But there were 2 Delta Forces in the Army. One was the macho Delta Force that was supposed to go out and murder people, and there was the other Delta Force, which was Delta as in change, the Greek symbol for Delta. So anyway, God, in the shape of the Holy Ghost, puts up his tent in man. And we're talking about human now, so men and women. And there's a quote from the Bible. It says, "The gods have come down in us in the likeness of men." And that's Acts 14:11. Acts 14:11. So, paragraph 657, the significance of Job is that he was an ordinary man who was wronged by God, which is an injustice, and it cannot be resolved only in Jesus. Jesus was the light, but God must suffer the fate of man and women. Otherwise, there can be no reconciliation between the two. There had to be an atonement, okay? And this was, you know, I don't know if anybody was thinking about this consciously, but that's how it came down 500 years after Job, which is what Jung is saying, that it wasn't working, that you could just believe it, you know, be a believer like Job and accept it. God had to have some good features to him. And
So what paragraph was that?
That's 657, paragraph 657. And so Jesus, quote, represented a light which, though it shone in the darkness, was not comprehended by the darkness. He remained outside and above mankind. So the problem was that Jesus was still the Son of God, okay? And there were all these precautions taken with the Virgin Mary. Okay, she had the privilege of virgin birth and numerous other privileges that made her basically a goddess. And so God still hadn't become man really, okay, because only in that one phrase on the cross does Christ show that he's a human. Otherwise, he's divine. Okay, he's divine, and he's always maintaining that he's the Son of God. Okay, so I say this facetiously with tongue-in-cheek, but paragraph 658, these pesky humans, Edinger's saying at page 79 of the God image, or transformation of the God image, once more we are appalled by the incongruous attitude of the world creator towards his creatures, who to his chagrin never behave according to his expectations. Note, in the petri dish, you don't inquire if the bacilli, in the petri dish, you don't inquire of the bacilli what is moral. Okay. And what, what Jung's point is that God was doing this experiment on Job, and what happened was Job proved himself more moral than God, than Yahweh. Okay, so Yahweh's behavior towards his creatures contradicts all the requirements of so-called divine reason, whose possession is supposed to distinguish men from animals. By providing a modicum of consciousness and free will, but he leads them into the temptation, falling into a dangerous independence. Not a big problem if the Creator is only kind and good, but Yahweh is forgetting his son Satan, to whose wiles even he occasionally succumbs. How then could he expect man with his limited consciousness and imperfect knowledge to do any better? He also overlooks the fact that the more consciousness a man possesses, the more he is separated from his instincts, which at least give me an inkling of the hidden wisdom of God, and the more prone he is to error. He is certainly not up to Satan's wiles if his creator is unable or unwilling to restrain this powerful spirit. So, the more consciousness, the less instinct.